He's the #1 most wanted killer on the planet. And today, he's doing the one thing no one expected. He's turning himself into the center of a manhunt, and he's smiling. Here's why. In the criminal ecosystem of the city, a name like Chen Kuei-lin carries a weight that most gangsters only dream of. While many in the underworld rely on posturing and loud threats, Chen is a rare breed, one of the few who has actually crossed the ultimate line. He didn't just join the life, he mastered its most violent requirement at an age when most are still finding their footing. The story opens at the funeral of a powerful mafia boss, a place where the air is thick with grief and hidden agendas. To the untrained eye, Chen is just another face in the mourning crowd. But in reality, he is a cutter in a room full of fabric. He isn't there to pay his respects to the dead, he is there to add another name to the list. With the chilling precision of a professional who has already measured his surroundings, Chen waits for the exact moment of peak distraction. While the guests are preoccupied with the ceremony, he draws his weapon and eliminates his target with surgical finality. The act is so sudden and decisive that the resulting terror becomes his exit strategy, allowing him to walk away before the panic even turns into a scream. However, every master has a rival. Captain Chen Hui is the police department's answer to the chaos, a man defined by a rigid code of honesty and a level of bravery that borders on the obsessive. When the pursuit begins, it isn't just a chase, it's a collision of two distinct disciplines. As they corner one another, the confrontation shifts from a chase to a brutal display of martial arts. The captain possesses the tactical endurance of a veteran, but Chen has the advantage of raw, youthful vigor. It's a high-stakes chess match of physical skill, where every strike is a calculation. Despite the captain's refusal to back down, Chen's superior agility allows him to neutralize the threat just long enough to slip through the fingers of justice and vanish into the urban sprawl. In the aftermath of the funeral hit, the man who was once a local threat has transformed into a national ghost. For 4 years, the name Chen Kuei-lin has sat at the top of Taiwan's most wanted list, while the man himself has existed only in the shadows. He is a master of the long game, living underground where the only eyes on him belong to a woman named Dr. Kim. The silence of his exile is broken by a single phone call. Dr. Kim informs him that his grandmother is scheduled for emergency surgery on a tumor. But for a man whose life is defined by timing, Chen arrives too late. By the time he reaches the hospital, the woman who was his last remaining anchor to the world has passed away. For a killer who has spent years hardening his heart, the loss is a surgical strike to his resolve. In the sterile, public halls of the hospital, the mask slips, and the man behind the reputation is momentarily broken by a grief he cannot calculate away. Knowing that every second spent in the open is a gamble with the law, Dr. Kim moves the meeting to a nearby food stall. She hands him the only inheritance he has left, a bag containing a stack of cash and a simple, pink children's watch. It's a cheap trinket he once gifted her, a flash of color in a world of gray, and he slides it onto his wrist, a permanent reminder of the life he was forced to leave behind. But the doctor hasn't called him here just to mourn. She delivers a second, more definitive sentence. Chen's medical reports show stage 4 lung cancer. The years of chain smoking have finally caught up to him, leaving him with a terminal diagnosis and a window of only 3 months to live. While Chen processes the reality of his own expiration date, the law is already closing in. Captain Hui, still carrying the weight of their encounter 4 years prior, arrives to interrogate Dr. Kim. He knows the grandmother's death is the perfect bait to draw a ghost out of hiding. However, the doctor remains a vault. She maintains her composure, protecting Chen's location not out of loyalty to a criminal, but out of a grim pragmatism. She knows that regardless of the police, Chen Kuei-lin is already a dead man walking. Faced with a terminal sentence, Chen finds himself at a crossroads where the path of the quiet tailor meets the road of a doomed man. Seeking clarity, he enters a traditional temple to consult a higher power. He isn't there for a miracle cure, he is there for an assignment. He uses the divination blocks, throwing them repeatedly to ask if he should surrender to the void or find one final use for his remaining days. Each toss returns the same answer: he must stay in the world. He must find a purpose. That purpose reveals itself the next morning with the sharp irony of a well-cut suit. While at a bank, Chen's eyes drift to a most wanted poster on the wall. It's a list of the 3 greatest threats to the state. At the top sits a man named Lin Luho, followed by the elusive Hong Qi. In the 3rd slot, he sees his own face. For a man who has spent his life refining his reputation as a professional, being ranked 3rd is more than an insult, it's a challenge. He realizes that if he is to die in 3 months, he won't do it as an afterthought. He decides to eliminate the 2 names above him, ensuring that when he finally departs, he does so as the undisputed number one. His appearance has shifted enough over 4 years of hiding that he moves through the lobby like a ghost, unrecognized by the very people hunting him. To begin his hunt, he seeks out an old contact from his days in the underworld. He lays out his plan with a chilling, twisted logic. He will clean up the streets by removing his rivals, securing his legacy through their blood. However, his old friend, recognizing the madness in Chen's eyes, refuses to cooperate. Knowing that a polite request won't move a man in this business, Chen pivots to a more direct form of persuasion. He arrives at Dr. Kim's clinic the next day, not as a patient, but as a predator. He presents her with her son's bag and personal belongings, making it clear that the quiet man has returned to his most dangerous habits. He has officially begun his final masterpiece, and he is willing to burn every bridge to ensure the world remembers the name Chen Kuei-lin. Faced with a man who has nothing left to lose, Dr. Kim realizes that her medical ethics are no match for Chen's terminal desperation. Even for a woman who has seen the darkest corners of the underworld, the scale of Chen's final ambition is staggering. He doesn't just want to die, he wants to curate the end of his life by erasing the only 2 names that stand above him on the most wanted list. To do this, he needs the one thing the police lack, the doctor's confidential records. Kim admits that while the top-ranked criminal, Lin Luho, remains a total enigma even to her, she has a direct lead on the second man, Hong Ki. A few months ago, she treated him for a chronic injury, and today, he remains dependent on high-grade painkillers. He is too cautious to show his face, so he sends a young woman named Mai to collect the medicine. To the public, Mai is simply a salon owner, but to the gang, she is a vital link to their leader's survival. As for the number one target, Lin Luho, Kim offers a single, fragile clue. A year ago, Lin's mother passed away in her care, leaving behind a final letter for her son. Kim hands the paper to Chen, hoping that the words of a dying woman might contain the coordinates for a devil who has vanished from the earth. With the information secured, Chen proves that even a killer can have a code of honor. He immediately releases the doctor's son, his leverage no longer necessary. Chen begins his hunt by taking up residence in a nondescript hotel room, positioned with a tactical view of Hong Ki's hideout. He spends hours watching the flow of the underworld, eventually witnessing Hong Ki arrive with his crew to celebrate a recent murder. From his vantage point, Chen spots Mai and quickly realizes she isn't a willing accomplice, but a victim kept in place by fear. He also recognizes a familiar darkness in Hong Ki. The man is a sociopath who treats violence like a celebration. The next morning, Chen decides to stop watching and start moving. He enters Mai's salon, not as an assassin, but as a customer, ready to begin the slow, precise work of dismantling Hong Ki's empire from the inside out. Mai welcomes Chen with the professional courtesy of a stranger, unaware that a ghost has walked into her salon. But the quiet atmosphere of the shop is shattered when Hong Ki arrives with his crew. In a move of calculated intimidation, Hong Ki pushes Mai aside and takes the razor himself, masquerading as the barber. He stands over Chen, the blade inches from his throat, and begins a philosophical monologue about the thin line between life and death. It's a classic, cutter's, standoff. Hong Ki has already deduced that Chen is the one watching them from across the street. He expects fear, but Chen is a master of the poker face. He remains unerringly calm, even as the air in the room turns lethal. Hong Ki's intent is to end Chen's journey right there in the barber chair, but the sudden arrival of a police patrol for a routine interrogation forces the gangsters to retreat. Before he leaves, Mai whispers a final warning to Chen: disappear, or the next time the blade touches his skin, it won't be for a shave. Chen returns to his hotel to find the room tossed, a messy signature left by Hong Ki's men. Realizing his sanctuary is compromised, he moves his base of operations to the trunk of his car. With his timeline shrinking and his symptoms worsening, Chen takes his medication to steady his hands. He isn't waiting for 3 months anymore, he's ending this tonight. He infiltrates Hong Ki's compound with surgical efficiency, neutralizing the personal driver before moving into the heart of the den. Inside the hidden house, the true nature of the family is revealed. Mai is not a partner in crime, but a prisoner held by Hong Ki's extreme violence. However, the past is catching up. Captain Hui has tracked the 2 most wanted men in the country to this one location. For the police, it's a jackpot, but for Hui, it's personal. He isn't interested in the lottery of catching Hong Ki, he is obsessed with Chen, the man who defeated him 4 years ago. Hui forgets one thing: a man with nothing to lose fights with a different kind of power. The struggle is brutal, ending with the sickening sound of a breaking bone. With the captain's leg shattered, the only man capable of stopping Chen is officially out of the game. Chen turns his focus to the second name on his list, Hong Ki. The chase leads them to a dark warehouse where the two most wanted men finally collide. Hong Ki is a psychopath, fast, erratic, and lethal. He lands strike after strike, testing the limits of Chen's failing body. But Chen has the discipline of a professional. He waits for the perfect opening and delivers a finishing blow that settles the score forever. Chen returns to find Mai. He doesn't just offer her comfort, he offers her freedom. That night, he systematically eliminates the rest of Hong Ki's gang, the root system that would have hunted her down. By dawn, they reach the coast. On a quiet beach, Mai finally speaks of the psychological cage Hong Ki had built around her. Chen listens, but his mind is already moving to the next measurement. He gives her his car and a final cold instruction: go to the police and tell them exactly what happened. He doesn't want her protection, he wants his credit. He needs the world to know that the number 3 slot is now vacant. As Chen treats his own wounds in a secluded hideout, the television reflects his success. Every news cycle is dominated by his face and the fall of Hong Ki. He watches with a quiet, professional pride, the satisfaction of a man whose craft is finally being recognized by the masses. Yet, the masterpiece is incomplete. The ghost at the top of the list, Lin Lu Ho, is still alive. Using a clue from Dr. Kim, Chen travels to a remote corner of the country. He follows the trail to a secluded mission, where the most dangerous man in the country has supposedly found God. The mission feels less like a church and more like a cult. The leader is charismatic and speaks of shedding one's past, a perfect message for a killer. But as Chen listens, his body betrays him. He collapses, coughing up blood, a reminder that his time is running out. Chen awakens in the mission clinic. The leader tells him he only has months to live but offers a miracle, total devotion in exchange for a cure. Chen, however, is only there for one thing. He asks for Lin Lu Ho. The leader gives him a shocking answer: Lin Lu Ho is dead. He even shows Chen a quiet grave as proof. With his targets gone and his body failing, Chen decides to give up. He joins the mission and embraces the peace. Then, the impossible happens. A new medical test shows that his cancer has vanished. Chen begins to believe he has finally been saved by a higher power. To become a new man, he burns his clothes, his money, and his grandmother's watch. He even buries his gun, ending the life of the unranked killer. But Chen is a specialist, and specialists notice flaws. During a sermon, a young boy collapses, vomiting the same black liquid Chen once did. Chen investigates and discovers a cold, calculated fraud. The leader and the doctor are partners. They are poisoning the followers with tainted food to create fake medical crises, only to cure them with staged recoveries to steal their life savings. The sanctuary is actually a parasite. When Chen tries to expose the truth, the cult's enforcers beat him and bury him alive. But they made a mistake. They buried a man who had already accepted death. Chen claws his way back to the surface. He retrieves his weapon and exhumes the grave of Lin Lu Ho. The coffin is empty. The man preaching peace is Lin Lu Ho. He didn't find God, he just built a new empire. Chen returns to the hall, not as a convert, but as an executioner. He eliminates Lin Lu Ho and his top enforcers, clearing the rot once and for all. With both names above him erased, Chen is now the undisputed number 1. He calls Captain Hui and surrenders at the harbor without a fight. As the media swarms, Chen waves with professional pride. He has completed his masterpiece. In his final days, the last stitch in the story is revealed. Dr. Kim visits his cell and tells him the truth. Chen never had cancer. The diagnosis was a lie she told to force him to redeem himself. While she didn't expect a killing spree, his actions purged the city of its 2 greatest monsters. On the eve of his execution, Mai visits him to give him one last shave. In that quiet moment, she weeps for the man the world calls a monster. Chen meets his end with total clarity. He didn't just climb the ranks, he cleared the board. Chen Kuei-lin wasn't just a man running from a diagnosis. He was a master craftsman looking for one final, perfect stitch. He didn't just move up the list, he erased it. If you appreciated this breakdown of the Quiet Assassin, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to Cinemaned for more massive movie scripts and epic narrations. We've got more coming for you soon. Stay sharp.